and welcome to the first Cross and Crown podcast. We are so excited that you are watching with us today. My name is Lisa Allen, Publication Specialist at Cross and Crown. And with me today, I have Dr. John Hill.
Hi, Lisa. Good to be here.
How are you?
I'm so excited to be here.
I know. This was an idea we cooked up together.
I'm surprised we made it happen, but here we are.
Here we are. Your title is CEO and
Correct.
Editor
That's right.
at Cross and Crown.
Right.
And tell us a little bit more about what it is you do there so our audience can get to know that.
When I first came to the press, it was almost 10 years ago, about 9 years ago or so. I came primarily to work with the Free Will Baptist magazine, the community magazine, and was really volunteering my time. And then when our current, the CEO at the time, he made an offer to me and asked me if I'd come on as a vice president of publication and curriculum. I came in and did that, and then eventually, without any expectation whatsoever, I landed in this role. I was never really part of the plan, but the board trusted me to take over the helm of the press, and they asked me to keep the editor role, but also to add on the CEO role as a part. So I kind of do a lot of things all at one time.
You've got your hands in a lot of different projects there.
More than I ever planned to.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm new, so I'm going to lean in on you
Sure.
to answer a lot of questions today. And we've got a little checklist here we're going to go through. But I'm learning. I've been there since March.
Right. Yeah.
And we're going to talk a little bit later about what I do, but we're not going to jump to that just yet. But talk to us a little bit about how long this business has been in operation, because I think that is one of the best kept secrets in Pitt County, and
Yes.
where we're located and what we have in our showroom available.
It is really amazing. This is the longest serving business in Pitt County. It's 153 years old. We'll turn 154 in November. And it's just amazing that an organization like this would ever be in existence this long. Hasn't always been, peaches and cornbread, but it certainly has been a phenomenal opportunity. It started by the Free Will Baptist denomination, North Carolina, and they started publishing a weekly newspaper that went all across North Carolina and beyond. And it was primarily a resource about what was going on in religious life within Free Will Baptist and beyond. So it had current events, Bible studies, all sorts of things in that newspaper. Over the years, things began to change. Newspapers weren't quite as profitable, backed off from being once a week to once a month. Then it took on a magazine format. Then eventually, as readership began to dwindle, people just aren't reading periodicals the way they used to. We moved entirely online. So that was how the business got its start. But it has always operated as a news organization for religious life and to produce curriculum to support Christian education programs across the state. So it was coming up during the same time as the Sunday school movement.
Right. And for that curriculum, how far across the U.S. does that go? I'm amazed at how far y'all ship those supplies.
I am too, quite frankly. It really goes beyond just North Carolina and Eastern North Carolina. Sometimes we think something like Crosswise, our primary flagship curriculum, is only located right here where some Free Will Baptists are located, but that's just not true. We serve in a whole host of different denominations. Our curriculum is rooted in what's called the ISSL, the International Sunday School Lesson Series by the National Council of Churches. So our programs fit very well with other publishing companies. So that makes it marketable to more denominations and much broader than just North Carolina. So we send it all across the United States in various formats, including some other countries. With our original Free Will Baptist International, the foreign missions arm of the Free Will Baptist Church, our curriculum is translated in Tagalog, Filipino, as well as Spanish, and they're sent to those locations.
That's amazing.
There are also other countries that we serve, but their primary language is English, so we send it to them exactly in English, and so they're able to use it as a free resource on those mission fields.
That's amazing. Getting the word translated in all the places that it needs to go.
It's amazing.
Is something that, we're taught that we're supposed to do.
Absolutely.
We are absolutely supposed to do that. So one of the things that I like doing in my role is getting out and visiting with churches.
Yes.
And I get to walk in and meet the pastors, sit down and talk to them about the different groups they have, the senior citizens groups, the youth groups, and the different names. They always have a cute little name they come up with all these groups. And we actually have them come on site and and visit the location.
Absolutely.
And so we want to be sure that we let people know that we do that, and would welcome the opportunity to host you, arrange a lunch for you and that kind of thing.
Yeah, we've had a number of churches that have done that. They'll bring their senior adult group. We've had as many as 20, 30, 40. Then we have maybe 10 who would come, walk through our facility, check out what we have. Even for young adults who might be interested in opportunity in publication, maybe they're interested in graphics design. This is a great time to come through, and maybe the store may or may not be of interest, but the publication end would be great. So getting a chance to interact with people like Jerry and Cindy and others to see what they do, see the machines that we use. It's pretty impressive what we have going on back there in the publication area. This is not just a place where there's a photocopy machine in a corner and somebody's just making photocopies.
There's a huge warehouse full of equipment.
It's massive.
As big as a gym.
Yeah, absolutely.
And speaking of that, most of the materials, what we like to say is if you can print it,
absolutely, we can do it.
We can do it.
That's right.
So we have there, signs. We can print signs that go in your yard. We can print metal signs. We can print vinyl signs, banners, flags, T-shirts, cups, you name it. If it can be printed, we can do that.
I've seen some crazy things come out of the back. Those folks have really come up with some cool ideas. Churches will come in and say, this is weird. I know, you probably can't do this. What about this? I was telling some of our staff not long ago, had a church come in. They were celebrating one of their particular centennial days, and they wanted a commemorative plate. And I remember my grandmother doing the commemorative plate stuff way back in the day. I didn't know anybody still did that. And we weren't sure we even had a vendor for that, but our team was able to locate somebody, and we were able to get a commemorative plate for their anniversary. So it was just a cool
Christmas
idea.
Ornaments, that's still a thing. If you want to get those for your church and have those, we can get those done as well.
A great friend of mine, he asked me about a business card, and he gave me his new business card, and I said, well, he's my friend, so I could talk. I was like, why didn't you let me do this for you? And he said, "Why you can't do this? What I'm looking for?" I said, "Well, let me look at your card." And it was a square card outside of a regular rectangular card, and then in the center of that card, kind of embedded between the two, was almost like a thin piece of plastic, and it was colorful. It was really neat, and it was very modern. And he was like, he probably can't do that. I said, give me 24 hours. Let me check it out. And I got to the office, didn't even take 24 hours, went to my staff. I said, can you make this? And they were like, absolutely, because we've made others just like it. So it was really neat that something so odd as that particular type of card we were capable of doing that in our building.
Yeah. With graduations coming up, people like to get signs in the yards to honor graduates. All sorts of things coming up, Father's Day,
That's right.
And that's another thing too. I don't think folks really know how much we have in the showroom as far as gifts.
Absolutely. So many churches. One church, it's really an association of churches down in Pamlico County. They have committed that every graduate within their county will receive a Bible with their name on it. And so they purchased almost 200 Bibles and had every graduate's name imprinted on that Bible.
Awesome.
So when they walked across the stage, as soon as they came down the ramp, the next thing they would see is one of those members from that inner church group handing them a Bible with their name on it. And it was such a great way to promote the ministry and to put God's word in their hand. What a cool idea.
One of the things that I'm kind of excited about, and I brought it with me, is we have a showroom full of books, absolutely full of books. And this is one that we are going to be doing as a summer reading program for ladies.
Cool looking book. Yeah.
The cover's what struck me.
Yeah.
It kind of got my attention. No More Boring Bible Study with Faith Womack. And when I opened it up, I love how she has what she calls Bible nerd notes. And so she talks about it in down-to-earth terms. She breaks it apart. She takes the scriptures and makes them come alive in her descriptions. And so we've started this May 31st as we'll be starting the summer reading program. This is the first book. That's awesome. No More Boring Bible Study. You'll be able to get that in the store.
Absolutely.
And we hope you'll stop in and pick that up and join us in reading that along. There'll be more information on that on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Facebook, and you'll get to see more information about that.
My wife is super excited about that because she said, as an adult reader, she said, everybody has opportunities for kids to read, but nothing for adults.
Yeah, they
and
leave
like,
school with a summer reading program.
Yes, right.
So
Perfect.
we don't leave work in May with a summer reading program.
Right.
That doesn't happen
Right.
for us adults. So something else we started new, and we're hoping it'll grow.
Right.
I went and visited with a couple of churches and had the opportunity to meet with homeschool groups.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
That go to church campuses, and actually twice a week they'll use their facilities and have school
Right.
somewhere else other than being at home.
Right.
So it's an excellent opportunity for the families to have some guest teachers come in and give the parents a little bit of a break. And so I met with them and I thought, we need to do a children's story hour.
Yes.
And so it doesn't cost a whole lot to promote and do a children's story hour, so why not? So each Wednesday at 10 o'clock, and we're hoping this will really grow during the summertime, we have a children's story hour. They will come, and the first time they come, they get a Pocket Baby Jesus.
I love it.
We love Pocket
That's
Baby
awesome.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they'll get one of those, and then we'll read the story. We have a nice room and a little rug where they can come and sit, and we may have a cookie and juice or something like that. But we're hoping to grow that.
Well, everybody needs a little Jesus. So even if they're
Jesus.
even if they're not a child, they can come in. I don't know how many of those things we sell, but
I
it
might
is
need
a
10 of these
ton
in my
them.
pocket.
I know, right? Yeah, that's right.
So now, can we talk about something that I'm really excited about?
I hope so.
It's my title,
Yes.
Publication Specialist.
You are. I
Yes.
love it.
Yes.
When you walked in my office that day, you came in to visit our store, and you we started a conversation about what you did, and we kind of had some similar background and some of our other professions, and literally realized that conversation was eventually going to lead to a relationship professionally in the business. And when you started sharing with me about your books and what you were writing and your passion for it, I thought, I don't know of anybody else that I could hire that would be so gifted to work with other writers. I mean, I really mean that. And I thought this is a perfect thing. And I think you've been an excellent hire for us. And I know you're working with one particular writer now. I hope he'll come on the show a little later on. But tell us a little bit about your process of how you came to be a writer. Okay. How did you decide to start writing?
For me, well, I always wanted to write. Probably have somewhere stuffed in closets manuscripts that I might have started on and just thought this is not good enough. And then you raise a family, you have children, you're dedicated to that. You just don't have the time,
right?
But it's a dream. And so I started putting effort into writing in 2020 when COVID hit.
Right.
I've said this before, I could have gone back to reading, which is a love I have. I love to read books.
Right.
Or I can finally, it's like God gave me the confidence to go ahead and step out in faith and start writing.
Right.
And so 50,000 words later, 80,000 words later, 90,000 words later, I have a manuscript.
Yeah.
So then I had to figure out, how do you get this manuscript in front of someone to get published? For a Christian writer, that's difficult. It is a difficult process, because what they're buying in mainstream publishing is not what I'm going to write.
Right, that's right.
I've got two beautiful little granddaughters, and I do not want them to grow up one day and pick up something that I've written and read it and say, Grandma wrote that trash?
Right.
No,
Exactly.
no,
Right.
no. So I'm a PG writer.
Absolutely.
I keep it clean. And, people looked at my work. They thought it was good. There was 2 years of conversations going around.
Right.
There was a point where no one was taking on any new writers because they had to be completely confident with what they had under their wings.
Right.
Because there were some wars going on with shops that were merging, being bought out. They couldn't take a chance on anything. So I was kind of caught up in that cycle. Did have an agent in New York who looked at my work and thought it was really great. I'd love to represent you. But I'd already self-published. And that's something that is an option. But she says, I can't really do anything with you. And so that was a bummer. But I didn't let it stop me. I did publish my first book and went on to publish a sequel. People read it. They loved it. Some of the folks I worked with to get the book published said, if you get a sequel, it sells the first book.
Right.
Okay, well, we'll continue the story. It's a great story. It's a sweet story. So we went on to, now I'm writing the third in that series, and then I'll shut that down. But during that process, people found out she did that.
Right.
I would go to book clubs and speak to them on, my book, and they would ask the questions, and you would hear them whispering and talking. And matter of fact, one of them, her name was Peggy, and she was sweet. She came up to me after it was over with. She said, "How did you do this? I have a book, and I want to get it printed. And what do I do?"
Right.
So I kind of told her some of the things that I did, and then this little light went off. I was like, maybe that's what I'm supposed to do.
Absolutely.
Maybe I'm supposed to help people who need to go down the path
Right.
that I went down, but make it easier for them because I'd done all the research. And interestingly enough, those people came to me.
Right.
A lady I did not know was referred to me. I helped her with her book. We've got it in the stores, as a matter of fact. We'll have it here and we'll show it to you in a little bit. Helped her get that published. Not long after that, another one came to me. Helped her get her book published. Yeah. Then I had a lady call me from Pennsylvania. Never have met her. I heard about you, heard about what you're doing with ladies and helping them get their testimonies put into books and their devotions put into books. Will you help me? Sure. So one day, I'm just riding down the road going to my full-time job, and I'm like, God, you did it. You sent them to me.
Right.
And I didn't even have to search for what I felt like my calling might have been. Mm-hmm. You gave me what I needed. And one day, I just decided that was something that I needed to do with my life. And I felt convicted that I didn't want to be where I was anymore.
Sure.
There was something more that I needed to be doing for the kingdom.
Right.
And I had left my full-time employment to pursue this.
Right.
When I left, I put on my paperwork, my resignation. I said I want to leave to help other women get published, other people write their testimonies in their books, and I want to grow my ministry. And a couple months later, I walked in. What brought me to Aden that day, which was really funny, is I needed a new battery.
Oh.
And so I had gone to the auto store.
Yeah, right. Uh-huh.
And when I came back through, it was like something said, hey, stop in Cross and Crown. You used to go in there with your grandmother when you were a little girl getting her Sunday school materials. Right. So I walked in on the same floor that I walked in when I was a kid, nonprofit. You can't dress up a whole lot. And met you. We talked about it. And like you said, about a month later, we came back with a plan on getting something together just to start and get working. And we are working. My job is to take what an author brings to me, no matter how simple, and help them get it from A to Z. Yeah. That's a beautiful process.
It's a wonderful process because I know in my background, and there's so much about this, it's like a spiritual story because, we go through the hardships, we go through the challenge. Sometimes we face a daunting issue and then we come out the other side and we're like, oh, that's great. And then we realize that God's going to use that for a purpose. And so you go through that process of writing that book and then lo and behold, God has used that process to help other people to do that. I have put my 9th book in print, and I have through the years just thought, and I can tell you in the 9th book, I don't know any more now than I did when I did the first one. But what an amazing process to be able to take something that you've written that's come out of your mind and your heart that you intend to tell the story or to help other people, to put it on the shelf, to put it in the hands of somebody, or the biggest honor is for somebody to say, I want your book. And for them to come and purchase it from you or purchase it from the store, and they bring it to you, and they want you to sign the inside of it.
Absolutely.
Your kids or someone, they want this and was like, this is mom or dad's book. This is this is something they created. And there's so many niches for this kind of stuff. Everybody has their own calling and their own setup. The one that I did most recently was a devotional for scuba divers, and
it's beautiful.
I thought this
is a beautiful book.
As a scuba diver myself, as a NAUI instructor, I did this for many years, and I met so many good people on dive boats that were talking about issues of faith, and they may not have been a person that would have walked through the door of a church, but they were spiritual people that wanted to have something to offer. And I thought, I need to figure out a way to connect spiritual matters to this thing that we love to do so much. And so I put my mind together with a few friends, and we came up with a couple ideas, and from that came out this book, and I called it Devotion, and sort of a little play on words there, how divers make great disciples. And the pictures that are in there are actually from Dr. Peter Wagner. He's a cardiologist here in Greenville, one of my dive buddies.
Great guy.
And wonderful man, and he and his wife are good friends of mine. And I said, Dr. Wagner, can I put your pictures in my book? And he gave me a thumb drive with some of his best pictures, and we have those in there. So
I feel like story hour right now.
it's just
Turning the
really a
pages here.
cool book to look at. Some of those shipwrecks he and I were diving on. I was with him when he took several of those, and so it's just a cool experience to be able to see that.
It's
So I'm really
beautiful.
proud of that
It's
book.
beautiful. You know, one of the processes that scares a lot of writers is the editing process.
Yes.
And I can speak from experience. It is terrifying to send your work to someone and them to critique it.
Right.
Knowing that you have spent hours upon hours doing the same thing.
Right.
But there's still something else more that can be done to make it a little bit better than what it was. And it takes several sets of eyes. And so that's something we can offer a writer. If you've got that manuscript and you bring it to us and you say, well, I've had it edited, or I've run it through, editor in Microsoft Word.
Right.
That's good. That's
Right.
good, But live eyes and 2 or 3 live eyes
That's right.
is better. And that's what we can offer in the editing process.
Particularly when you're writing multiple chapters of the same thing. I write chapter 1, 2, and 3, and I was in one mood. And then I wrote 4, 5, and 6 in a different place
And you
at
were
the
hungry,
moment.
and it didn't come
something else was on my mind. Next thing you know, that character or that topic has moved to something I was dealing with. And so to have that other set of eyes to look through it and say, there's a change in tone here.
Right.
Let's smooth that out.
Right.
And let's fix that. Or, Lord forbid, we use a phrase or a term that we think is acceptable in our vernacular, but another demographic might
be
take offensive to
Right.
it. And so we want to be sensitive to those kind of things to make your book
Right.
readable and supportive. So I'm really excited about this new venture for our company.
Well, I often, like with Brandon Johnson, he's our newest editor,
Yes.
our newest author, I'm sorry, that his book will be coming out in the next few weeks. As a matter of fact, I think we did a media splash on that today, didn't we?
We did.
Did you see that?
We did, yeah.
I haven't had a chance to look at
It
that.
is.
But Brandon has written a wonderful book about his testimony and his life.
He's a phenomenal guy.
And how God has really taken circumstances and just molded him into who he is today. And his
Yes.
book is called Defined. And he is defined.
Very.
Very
Yeah.
much. And he just talks about how the right people came alongside of him
Yes.
and carried him through situations that he might not have survived otherwise.
Yes.
And it's just really sweet. And now, I see him as being one of those mentors for the next generation.
Absolutely.
He's going to carry it forward. And part of that is by writing this book.
Yes.
And he was one of the first ones that I had that came and sat down with me. And the book was just sweet and it was written so well. And he did, you had some massaging and some tweaking and some things you had to do developmentally. And, I explained to him that's my favorite part of the process because you see something that's good get better and then you see it at its best. And then, once you get through that process, you've got to start doing the interior layout.
Right.
The spacing. How do you want your chapters to look? Do you want something
Right.
pretty on them? You want something different, like, yours is different than a regular novel would be
Right.
laid out and that kind of thing. So you go through that stage of creativity. Then you go through making the cover.
Right.
And making sure you've got all the right points on the back of the cover that talk about what the book's about on the inside.
Sure.
And a cover that's attractive, that catches someone's attention
Right.
to pick the book up.
We do, in fact, judge a book by its cover,
Yes,
regardless
we
of what we
do.
try to say.
We do. We try not to, but we often do. And the graphics are so important.
Absolutely.
And one of the things I want us to touch base on is our design team because
Yes.
we have an in-house design team.
Yes, we do.
And Jerry and Cindy are great at putting things together. They're great at taking what you have, making it better.
And make it pop every time.
Right, offering something else
Yeah.
to it to make it just look just a little bit better. A lot of people think, well, I can use AI and create this.
Right.
I can use ChatGPT and I'll do this.
Yeah.
The problem is with that is somewhere down the line, there may be some controversial issues about who actually owns that material.
Absolutely.
So it's always a good point to say, here's what I kind of created on my own.
Can you do it?
take this and make it into something that I can say is mine?
I made something just the other day and I sent it to Cindy and I said, do your thing. I
Right.
was like, you know what to do. And so
Polish
she
it.
just make it what it needs to be. And so she reworked a couple of designs, changed some fonts, moved some stuff around. Next thing you know, it looks so much better than anything that I could have created. So I think you may want to start, maybe run an image through AI if you wanted to do that. that, but you can't end there. You really
No.
need to have a more professional
No.
approach in your final product.
Yeah. So I guess to recap this and to the takeaway with this conversation is if you're listening, watching the podcast, and you have written something, you have a
Yes.
drawer full of journals, you are a pastor, you have sermons in a file cabinet that have
So
just been
many.
sitting there forever. You're a mom who's been writing about your experiences with raising children. You may have a special needs child. You may have something
Yeah.
to offer those communities, give them encouragement. You may have recipes, and you might want to do a recipe book.
That's right.
There are no doors that get closed here.
That's right.
They're all open.
Yeah.
And we would love to talk with you, see what we can do to help you make those dreams come to be. It's amazing to watch these writers go through the process and how excited they get. I remember before my first book was going to go live, the night before, I thought I was going to have a nervous breakdown.
Sure.
People other than editors and a handful of beta test readers are going to read this. Will they like it?
Right.
Or will they think it's terrible? You know,
Right.
what's going to happen?
Yeah.
And they all have that. Did you have that?
I did.
Yeah.
Because I remember even when the book showed up and we hot off the press and it was on my desk and I was so scared to open that book and think, was the wrong thing on the wrong page, or did something get messed up, or is there a chapter left out or something? And then to open up, read through it and say, it was perfect, exactly the way we needed it. And then to trust my wife to look at it again, and she looked at it and I said, is there anything wrong with it? And she was like, no, it's perfect. So to know that we've got people that walk through that, give that extra set of eyes, shepherd through the process to know you've got a great product to put on the shelf.
My first one, when it was coming to me, I knew it was coming by UPS. You know how you got the tracker?
Yeah, right.
And I'm tracking where they're at. And my husband said, if she doesn't get here soon, if they don't get here, it has to be a
Right.
lady driver.
Meet
She
them
doesn't
by
get
the
here soon.
road.
You're going to be meeting her down. You're going to
That's
chase her
exactly
down the
right. That's
highway to
right.
get
Yeah.
that first draft of that
Right.
book to take a look at it because it's so exciting.
Yes, it
and
is.
the one thing I want to say too is it is doable.
Absolutely it is.
And no matter what your budget is, it's doable. We have a variety of ways we can help people
Yeah.
publish. I'm going to grab a couple of things here now. This is something that you do. It's on a smaller scale.
I did, yeah.
And this is more of a pamphlet type
Yep.
booklet.
It was very short. I wrote that as a devotional for the Lenten season leading up to Easter. So it's about 40 to 41 days worth of time. So it leads from Ash Wednesday through Resurrection Sunday. So people can sort of read along and have sort of a devotional spiritual experience as they're leading up to Resurrection Day.
And it's small. It's not going to take a lot of their time.
Very. Fit right in your coat
Daily.
pocket.
Right.
Would have no problem
Right.
fitting into that.
Put it in your Bible and read the scriptures that coordinate with it. This is another author that we did her piece, and this is more of a larger type booklet.
That's right.
And so sometimes this is what you need.
Yep. Short stories
You
of
need something
what's going
simple.
on in life. Yeah.
We can do that. We can help you with the editing of that. We can help you with the design. No matter what the project is, you bring it to us, and we can be good. This is what we call perfect bound.
Absolutely.
And that's a little bit different. It has a spine.
Yep.
And tell us a little bit about that.
So the Reverend Harry Grubbs is one of our a minister that lives here in the Pitt County area. He has a long history of, I'm not sure how long Harry's been in
known him since
pastoral,
back in the
but
Craigmont days.
many, many years, and has been a good friend. And so anyway, he's since his retirement, he's started writing, and he says he now spends a lot of time studying. And so he wrote this commentary on the book of Revelation, and it sort of goes through practically verse by verse and helps to explain and to understand from his point of view his view of the Revelation of John. And there's others. He's got another one he's trying to work on from 1 John. He's got a few others that he's interested in. So it's probably going to be a bit of a series of other works that he puts together.
This is great because Revelation is a hard book.
Sure it is.
It's a hard book to understand, but it's an
Right.
important book to read.
I think that it's very timely for our society where we live in today.
Yes, so stop by the store or visit Cross and Crown website.
Yes, we do have it online, and you can order it. Even if you're not local to our area, you can order it online, and we will send it to you within 24 hours, and you can get that shipped to you real quick.
This is another perfect bound book, and it's more of a study book. And this
Yes.
is the author is Vicki Dixon. She's local. She lives here. She has a series of books that we have in the store
does.
and online. And there's great study tools, and this is more geared toward women.
She did this idea. She came to me and said that she felt like there were a lot of women in the Scripture who didn't get their fair shake in terms of treatment of the stories. People, women who were practically unnamed. And in fact, I preached on one of those for Mother's Day, actually. And so it's a wonderful study. One's on the New Testament, one's on the Old Testament. So you can take those apart and use them for your personal study, or you can use them for your Bible study, a Sunday school class, something like that. It's really very appropriate for that.
Now, these are really cute. This is one that we put together for
that was a fun little project.
Children's book. And so,
Cutest little story.
these are just endless opportunities that we can work with you in getting things done. Now, tell us a little bit about Pastor Barry Stallings.
Barry Stallings is one of our Free Will Baptist pastors. He pastors the Pleasant Grove Free Will Baptist Church out in Pikeville, Wayne County. He's been a member of our board, and he felt the call, just like you and I, to write something. And so he had this thing pressed on his mind about this elderly lady named Esther, and he wanted to write about some of her struggles. And so he was only going to do this first one, A Christmas Gift for Esther. And he wrote it. In fact, he made a little kind of a screenplay or a Christmas play for a church kind of on it. And it was such a big hit, he wrote the second one. And then after he finished the second one, of course, this is a continuous expanded story of Esther's life and things going on with her. And so now he's working on his last one. And I told him, he really thought just like you. He's like, I'm going to shut this down. This is the last one of this series. And one day he was standing in my office and I was like, well, here's another angle. And I threw out one other idea, was halfway kidding with him. And he said,
He took it around.
Look what you did. He said, now I'm going to have to write another book. So we're looking forward to getting his final one.
In the fall.
In the fall, yeah. So we're looking forward to that.
And these are also in store and online as well.
Wonderful Christmas gifts. For sure.
Yes, and this is the one I was telling you about that I had the opportunity to work with,
cool
who
book.
helped me get into my own publishing arena. And The Voice of the Occupy Cherry Tree, this is Christina Smith. She is local, and the book is in the store.
Correct.
And this is a beautiful book. It's about a grief journey. And so if you have anyone that is working through a grief journey, this would be an excellent option for them to come in and maybe give someone that has, here's some more of Vicky's books right here. And so we can do just about any type of publishing that you can imagine. But one more thing that I want to be sure we touch base on that I don't think a lot of people realize is the nonprofit status of our organization.
Absolutely.
And the fact that if you purchase from our store, our showroom, it helps support that
real
nonprofit.
ministry. Right.
And I cannot tell you how many ministers, how many Sunday school teachers, how many music, that come in there
That's right.
every single day
That's right.
to get things that they need for their congregations.
A really great story. I think it was just a few years ago. I was walking through the showroom, kind of, just taking something, I believe, and there was a gentleman that was standing on the aisle where all the Bibles are located, and he looked sort of confused, kind of like a deer in headlights, trying to figure out what to do. We have so many Bibles. It's almost, sometimes it's hard to get your head around how many and all the styles and everything that you want. And so he was sort of, I guess, dumbfounded at just how many things there were. And he really didn't know what he was looking for. Then I struck up a conversation with this guy and I said, what are you looking for? He said, well, I need a Bible. And I was like, well, tell me a little bit about, where you go to church, et cetera. And he said, I just got out of prison. And he said, I accepted Christ in prison. The chaplain led me to Christ, and he was like, I got out and I'm going to get my life straight. And he was like, I need a Bible.
Wow.
And I was like, let's talk a little more. And so I got a little more in depth about, what his background was, what had happened. And he shared that with me, and I sort of put my pastor hat on for a minute and helped him. And in a few minutes, I walked over, we found him a Bible that was within his price range. And we made that happen. And to just think, I don't know where that gentleman is now, but I pray for him because I still see his face. I don't know his name, but I still see his face because I'm like, that's a man that walked in our door seeking something, and we put it in his hands. And what a great opportunity. Our organization has always been a 501c3 organization. And with that setup, the government allows us a certain amount of related and unrelated business. And so we, even as a not-for-profit organization, we can serve your for-profit business up to a point. And so as long as we stay under that threshold, then everybody's happy. And the last group I want on my back is the IRS. So they're great. So if you're a Christian business, and even though you're a for-profit and you want to work with us in some way, we can do that, and that's not a problem. And we can still be competitive just like all the other businesses in town. But when you come in the door and you buy that Bible, you buy that curriculum, you buy those church supplies, you are investing in a Christian ministry rooted here in Pitt County with arms that reach literally all around the world, and you're helping us to fulfill our Great Commission, our calling to see Christ, make Christ known to the world. So you can support us with your purchases, and that's a great way to do that. But if you chose, and some churches do, they write us a benevolent gift, a love gift, if you will, to the ministry, and we receive those on occasion, and that goes to help further advance the work that we do as well. We could certainly have other conversations about other kinds of gifts that you may have of tangible real estate, something like that, even estate gifts. We do have the opportunity to do that. We can set up endowments through one of our agencies. So there's a whole host of things you can do to continue to support Christian work and Christian ministry right here in Pitt County and around the world. So I'd love to have that conversation with anyone that might be interested.
Mm-hmm. That's an excellent way. I mean, we have wall art.
Yes.
We have the Cherish Girl T-shirts.
Absolutely.
We have caps. These things go toward supporting the ministry.
Absolutely.
And so instead of, buying that Father's Day gift,
right,
somewhere online,
right,
you might want to consider supporting us.
Christian ministry.
The graduation gifts.
Yeah.
A Bible's a great graduation gift, and there's some wonderful devotionals in there as well.
Why would you buy those from a business that just down the way on a similar shelf, they're selling non-Christian materials from anti-Christian purposes, or supporting an organization that does not fulfill your personal calling or your support.
Right.
With us, we're evangelical Christians, accommodating to, Baptist, Methodist, Pentecostal, Holiness, independent church. We got all kinds of people that come in.
Exactly right.
And we're so glad that we can be a Bible-based, Christ-centered organization that's going to make the Great Commission the main thing.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just thankful that I get to be a part of it every day.
It makes my day every day to see you come in.
Well, most days, right?
Most days.
Well, we hope you have enjoyed our first episode of the Cross and Crown Show, and stay tuned because we have a lot more of this coming. Thank you for joining us.